A promise isn't memorized, it's received. That is where we begin, not with the tongue running, not with the intellect arranging, but with the heart consenting until something within says yes, and conduct quietly alters. Our aim this day is not to collect verses as one collects coins. It is to stand still long enough that a single word of God possesses us, and by that possession the day is set under divine influence. I know the hesitation. Many of you are wary of repeating scriptures, and rightly so. The Master himself warned, "But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking." Matthew 6-7. Vain repetition leaves the heart untouched. It leaves you where you started, clever perhaps, busy certainly, but still self-driven and therefore soon exhausted. If we enter the day with lips full and soul empty, we will find ourselves managing life out of our own storehouse, and that storehouse runs lean. Without a period of meditation in which we acknowledge the source, it is as if we were going to do something of ourselves. And you remember the word, "Without me ye can do nothing," John 15-5. So we come to the difference between recital and reception. Recital keeps me in charge. Reception dethrones me. Reception says, "Father, I do not take this promise to use it. I open to this promise that thou mightest use me." When a promise is received, it ceases to be a line in a book and becomes a law operative in consciousness. It is the difference between saying, "God is love," and feeling love flow out through you toward the next face you meet. One is sound, the other is substance. How then do we begin the day? Not with a performance, but with a posture. If you do nothing else, give the day back before you touch it. 10 seconds will do to start. We shall speak of this again. But now, simply yield. Yes, here before the next breath, whisper within, "Father, this is thy day. Thy will be done through me. Not thy will be approved by me. Not thy will admired by me. Thy will done through me." Let the words do their own work. Do not work the words. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing, John 6-63. We are not trying to warm ourselves by rubbing promises together. We are letting the fire himself kindle. I have learned this the hard and kind way. On mornings when I launched straight into tasks, I found I had also launched into myself. Even good works grew heavy. But on mornings when I paused and surrendered the day, a strange governance appeared. Calls came at right time. Interruptions became appointments. And I could say truly, "The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works," John 14:10. The difference was not more scripture, but a yielded heart to a single promise believed. Do not be afraid of simplicity. The holiness of this is its ordinariness. We are not attempting to move God. We are consenting to be moved of God. We are not invoking presence. We are acknowledging presence. We are not securing favor. We are surrendering control. Make no move, at least without acknowledging, "Father, this is thy day." And then be still, one breath beyond your habit. Wait not to hear a sentence, perhaps, but to lean into a certainty. The day is no longer yours to drive. It is his to express. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Isaiah 26-3. Staying the mind does not mean straining the mind. It means consenting again and again to the inner government. This is our foundation. Guidance begins when we cease trying to use Scripture and allow a promise to use us. Begin so, and you will discover that the promise you receive at dawn becomes the presence that carries you at noon and the peace that lays you down at night. Now let us take the smallest step that changes the whole direction of the day. A period of meditation may be as little as 10 seconds, one breath beyond your habit. And the reason is this: 10 seconds, sincerely yielded, transfers authority. In that little space, we cease to be the operator and consent to be the instrument. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not be still and try to know, be still and know. The knowing is given when the stillness is granted. How then do we pause without striving? Begin with the body, because the body is where most of us announce our unbelief. Untie the shoulders. Let the jaw drop from its secret clench. Loosen the belly. Feel the chair hold you. Feel the ground carry you. Now, turn not outward, but inward, and acknowledge presence. No effort to manufacture a mood. No hunting for a sentence. Simply, Father, thou art here. This is thy life. Thou within me doest the works. John 14:10. Then do not add. Do not decorate. For 10 seconds, let those words be the furniture of the room, and you, the one who sits quietly, consenting. If thoughts run past like children in a hallway, let them run. You are not there to scold them. You are there to recognize the householder. If a fear knocks, do not argue. Answer softly, peace, be still, Mark 4:39, and return to your inner nod, yes, Father. The aim is not to think something holy, but to yield to the Holy One. In that 10 seconds, the government shifts. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3-6. Acknowledgement, not argument. Consent, not coercion. Direction is the fruit. Make a simple rule, firm and gentle. Make no move, no message, no decision, no purchase, no argument without at least one brief acknowledgement of divine government. Before you send the email, 10 seconds. Before you enter the room, 10 seconds. Before you answer the child or the critic within 10 seconds. You will not always keep it. None of us do. But each time you remember, you return to the only place where obedience is possible. Under orders, not under pressure. Now, do it with me here. Breathe out the insistence to manage. Whisper within, Father, this is thy doing. Wait. Count not numbers, but heartbeats. Let there be nothing you must hear and nothing you must feel. Only this willingness, not I, but thou. 10 seconds. And notice perhaps a soft lessening, not fireworks, not ecstasy, just the sense that the wheel is no longer in your hands. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing, John 6-63. 10 seconds can place you where the quickening may reach you. Why does this work? Because the Spirit is forever ready, but the mind is forever busy. The pause does not summon God. It silences the rival. It is not a charm. It is a chair. You sit in it, and you are carried. The human will is a poor captain. It steers by fear or pride. The indwelling presence steers by peace. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, Isaiah 26-3. To stay the mind, we stay a moment, and the moment opens into a way. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. The only failure here is to refuse the pause and insist on being the doer. If you forget and find yourself already in the quarrel or the confusion, stop in the middle. Yes, in the middle. Close your mouth on the half-made sentence. Bow within. Father, I have taken thy place again. I return it to thee. 10 seconds right there will redeem more than 10 hours of clever speech. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13. Salvation is seen by those who stand still long enough to look. Set a little liturgy for the day. Morning, before the feet touch the floor, 10 seconds. Noon, Before the next task, 10 seconds. Evening, before the last word, 10 seconds. This is not asceticism, it is arrangement. We arrange our consciousness so that the Father within is recognized as governor, and then the day reveals its ease. Calls come at right times. Interruptions become appointments. Your word softens because you are not using it to secure yourself. Authority has moved, and with it, the labor of living. You will find yourself saying, quietly and truthfully, not as doctrine but as discovery, I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. And that discovery, begun in 10 seconds, will come to order 24 hours. Now, a word about promises, for here many stumble. The mind, anxious and clever, would fain rub a verse like a charm to soothe its nerves. That is not faith, that is sedation. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Matthew 6-7. Vain repetition is the tongue trying to manage what only surrender can accomplish. It will quiet you for a minute, perhaps, but it cannot establish you. Acceptance does what repetition cannot. It births inner confidence because it consents to another to be the doer. A promise received is a presence realized. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing, John 6-63. What then do we mean by a promise? Not a sentence to be displayed, but an assurance to be inhabited. A promise in this way is a divine word to which you yield until it changes the atmosphere in which you move. It is a climate. At first, you reach for it like a coat. By and by, you discover you are living in its weather. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26-3. Staying the mind is not reciting at the mind. It is consenting, as we have practiced, to the inner rule, 10 seconds at a time, until peace is no longer a visitor but the household air. Promises are not recited to change God. They are received to change our alliance. God is not altered by our many words. We are altered by agreeing with His word. When a promise is accepted, authority shifts. The soul says, Father, thou within me doest the works, John 14:10. And the hand grows light because it is not lifting alone. The same sentence said, as talisman leaves you tired. The same sentence received as truth leaves you tender and bold, at rest and ready. Let us then be intentional in our selection, not collecting phrases like curio, but choosing assurances that cover the whole field of daily need. This is the principle of selection. Take promises that answer guidance, peace, sufficiency, protection, correction, fruitfulness, and love's flow out. Guidance. For we must not walk in circles. As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Romans 8:14. Peace. For peace is our compass. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace. Isaiah 26-3. Sufficiency for strength does fail. My grace is sufficient for thee. 2 Corinthians 12-9. Protection, which lives inside peace and trust. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Psalm 91-5. Correction and light, for love will not flatter our errors. He shall guide you into all truth. John 16:13. Fruitfulness through abiding. Abide in me, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. John 15-7. And love's flow out, the change from grasping to giving, which we shall enact as we go. To keep this from drifting into a lecture, we shall yoke each promise to a moment, a trigger, a bell that rings inside the day. When you face a choice and feel the itch to decide alone, that is Romans 8:14 and a 10-second bow. Father, lead. When agitation rises like a siren, that is Isaiah 26:3, and a 10-second stay, mind on thee. When the batteries run to red, that is 2 Corinthians 12:9, and a 10-second yielding, thy grace, not my push. When confusion chases itself in circles, that is James 1-5, ask and then hush 10 seconds to receive wisdom without anxious re-asking. When outcomes tempt you to manage and manipulate, that is John 14:10, the Father within, and 10 seconds of stepping back from the wheel. When barrenness or impatience dogs your labor, that is John 15, abide and 10 seconds on the vine. When you discover you are wrong and mercy stings, that is John 16:13, guide me into all truth, and 10 seconds to accept correction as love. Protection, you will find that peace itself is a shield. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Psalm 91-4. This is how promises become living assurances. Each one is married to a pause. Not many words, just consent. Not the mind trying to convince itself, but the heart granting governance. We will walk these 7 assurances together, one by one, and tie them to the real bells that ring in your day. Remember, do not seek to make them work. Make room, and they will reveal the one who worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Philippians 2:13. For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Romans 8:14. Hear it not as a riddle, but as a birth certificate. Guidance is not a medal pinned on the advanced. It is the natural evidence of sonship. The leading of the Spirit is not rare. It is native. What is rare is our pause to acknowledge it. When you and I surrender the posture of the manager and take the place of the son, guidance ceases to be a hunt and becomes a homecoming. Where does this first assurance meet you? At the bell of pressure? The inbox pings and expects a same-minute reply. The offer expires at midnight. The calendar asks, yes or no. The voice of urgency shouts, decide now or lose it. My friends, urgency is not your shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Psalm 23:1-2. The shepherd leads, panic drives. The test of sonship in the moment of decision is simple. Will I be led or will I be pushed? Sons are led. Make a little liturgy for this bell. When the decision clamps down and the breath shortens, refuse the panic of the deadline. Refuse the flattery of your own cleverness. Bow within, yes, even if only for 10 seconds, and say softly, Father, this is thy decision. I am available. Do not add to it. Do not bargain. Let that inner sentence be a door you open, not a speech you deliver. Sit in that door for one breath beyond your habit. That is all. 10 seconds in which authority moves from your schedule to his government. What happens there? Often, not a sentence, but a sense. A gentle yes that bears peace, a quiet no that unhooks the fear of missing out, or a be still that empties the urgency of its teeth. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, John 10:27. The voice does not shout, it settles. The sign is not adrenaline, it is assurance. If you are still caught in mental pros and cons, return to the posture. Breathe once. Father, thou art the doer. This choice is thine. In that consent, you will find that the mind stops performing and begins receiving. Do not be surprised if the answer is be still. A son is not measured by the speed of his choices, but by the steadiness of his trust. The world will call delay a loss. Heaven calls it obedience when the delay is devotion. Remember, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3-6. Acknowledge first, direction follows. If a decision truly cannot wait, let the step be small enough to carry in peace. Take the first inch, not the mile, and keep the ear inward. The shepherd can correct the foot that moves humbly. He cannot guide the pride that runs ahead. You may say, but what if I miss it? Don't be afraid of mistakes. Don't be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. The same Spirit who leads will also correct, for he shall guide you into all truth. John 16:13. If you have chosen from fear, you will know it by the unrest that follows. Stop right there. Bow again. Father, I have taken thy place. I return it. 10 seconds can unwind 10 hours of self-will. What is this but sonship learning its walk? Infants wobble, sons stand. And the standing is by grace, not by strain. Receive this promise, then, not as a policy, but as identity. Ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. Romans 8:15. You do not achieve leading, you recognize it. You do not manufacture answers, you inherit guidance. Each pressured crossroad is an altar on which you can either sacrifice your peace to urgency or offer your urgency to the Father. Choose the second. Pause. Father, this is thy decision. I am available. Listen for the yes, the no, or the be still, and walk not as a strategist securing outcomes, but as a son escorted by presence. In this way, your day will not be a series of gambles. It will be the unfolding of a life already held. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Isaiah 26:3. Hear this as law, not lullaby. Not, if you earn it, you may have peace. Not, if the world behaves, peace will be possible. No, thou wilt keep. Peace is the government that descends when the mind returns to its center. It is not a mood among many. It is the sign that the soul has yielded its reins to the indwelling. Perfect peace is the atmosphere of acknowledged presence. Where does this promise meet you? At the bell of looping thought. News scrolls its alarms. Numbers in the account march like soldiers. A child's toned needles. The body whispers symptom and then shouts. Old failures replay their courtroom. The mind builds a future that never arrives and already hurts. And we, being earnest, often try to wrestle the thought, pitting Scripture against anxiety like swordplay. That is not staying, that is striving. The word here is stayed. To stay a mind is to moor it, as a small craft ties into a sure cleat while the tide pushes and the wind argues. The boat does not fight the sea, it changes its fastening. So the practice is simple and exact. When the loop begins, yes, in the very swirl, do not argue with the content, change the center. Make the 10-second turn, loosen the shoulders, let the jaw unhook, feel the floor hold you. Then within, speak once, not many times, thou wilt keep me in perfect peace. That is enough. You have tied the line. Now be still. Spend the rest of the 10 seconds in quiet consent, not thinking about peace, not hunting a feeling, only this inner nod. Father, I am stayed on thee. What will you notice? Often the breath lengthens by itself, as if some unseen hand has taken the weights from the chest. The mind ceases chasing its tail, not because you solved the problem, but because you yielded the throne. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4-7. Note that verb, shall keep, shall garrison. Peace keeps you. You do not keep peace. You present yourself to the keeper. If peace does not appear at once, do not call it failure. Stay again, 10 seconds more, quietly, respectfully, as one who knows the anchor is sure and the line is sound. If agitation persists, let that very unrest be your counsel. Make no move bigger than the peace you have. Take the inch you can carry without breaking the line. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, Psalm 23:2. If the waters roil within, wait with the shepherd. You are not late, you are loved. Do not mistake sedation for peace. Sedation is the mind grown numb by distraction. Peace is alive. It clears, it illumines, and then it moves you into right action with a light hand. Many a time I have felt the undertow of headlines and letters and the clamor of need. Stopping for 10 seconds to say, "Thou wilt keep me," I have found that within the minute, one call became unnecessary, another became obvious, and an apology I had not planned to make rose to the lips with ease. Peace did not delay the work. It delivered it from fret and made it fruitful. Let this then be your compass in all the small and greater turns. Let peace rule, and let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Rule, act as umpire, decide the close call. If a path steals peace, bow out of it if you can. If you cannot, then slow your pace until the yoke becomes easy. The Father within is not in the push, he is in the rest that readies the step. Return as often as you wander. 10 seconds can untie 10 knots. Whisper once, "Thou wilt keep me in perfect peace," and keep no more, only the silence in which the keeper keeps. In that silence, you will discover that perfect peace is not a decoration on a holy day. It is the sign you are home, stayed on thee, and therefore guided as a son. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works, John 14:10. Take that not as poetry, but as emancipation. You are not the personal doer trying to make spirituality work. You are not the engine, you are the instrument. I can of mine own self do nothing, John 5:30. That is not defeat, it is doorway. When strain has become your religion, when you measure devotion by exhaustion, hear this promise as a key that unlocks the cell of self-management. The Father within is the doer. Where does this assurance ring its bell? At the weight that settles on honest shoulders. A parent fearing the child's tomorrow. A leader carrying a team's livelihood. A minister shouldering the ache of a flock. A soul feeling responsible to control outcomes as if Providence had retired and left you in charge. The heart means well, and so it tightens its grip. Ah, but except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it, Psalm 127:1. Vain labor is not always lazy labor. It is any labor undertaken as if God were absent. The mark of vain labor is inner strain. What then is our reframe? Do what is yours to do outwardly. Answer the email, make the call, hold the boundary, comfort the child, but never from inner strain. Action must proceed from listening. Yoke your doing to the doer. My yoke is easy and my burden is light, Matthew 11:30. An easy yoke is not a lazy life. It is an aligned life where the weight is carried from within. Let us practice the transfer now for 10 seconds. If you will, place a hand lightly upon the chest, not as magic, only as reminder where the government resides. Breathe out the compulsion to manage inwardly, with no decoration, consent. Father within, do it, say it once. Then let the sentence be like a key turned, and take your hand from the knobs of outcomes. 10 seconds. No bargaining, no plan spinning, only the inner nod, not I, but thou. For it is God which worketh in you, both to will and to do of his good pleasure, Philippians 2:13. What may follow is small and holy. The jaw loosens, the breath comes home. A next step appears not the whole road, just the single faithful inch, and it bears the sign of the easy yoke. Or else there is a quiet check, wait, and an unnecessary task falls away like a dead leaf. Believe it or not, I have stood at my desk with a letter half finished, pleading my case, when the weight in the chest betrayed me. Stopping for 10 seconds, Father within, do it. I found the letter did not need defense, but repentance. One sentence changed from argument to apology, and peace returned with it. The Father within had done the work while I laid down the hammer. But what if, in the heat of duty, you wake to find yourself orchestrating again, pushing the child, herding the staff, shaping the narrative, tightening the future with anxious hands? Stop in the middle. Close your lips on the next insistence. Bow within and say, Father, I have taken thy place. I return the works to thee. 10 seconds there can save a day's worth of cleverness. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you, 1 Peter 5-7. To cast care is not to abandon action. It is to abandon authorship. Take the step you can carry without losing peace. Leave the results where they have always belonged. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. The doer within not only accomplishes, he corrects. If you have built amiss, he will show you by unrest, and he will lead you gently to undo what pride arranged. Better to halt and yield than to hurry and harden. Remember, guidance is not improved self-control. It is yielded cooperation. You are not perfecting a technique. You are consenting to a presence. Let this become your liturgy whenever over-responsibility knocks. Hand to the heart, if you will. Whisper once, Father within. Do it. Wait 10 seconds. Then act from what remains after the strain has been surrendered. The easy yoke, the light burden, the single clear inch. And as you go, let this word accompany you like a lamp at your feet. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. In that living, works are wrought without weariness, outcomes are entrusted without indifference, and the day becomes what it was meant to be, not a monument to our management, but a testimony. The Father within me doeth the works. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12-9. Hear this not as a sympathy card, but as a change of government. Grace is not the pat on the head you receive after failing. It is the life you receive where you thought life had ended. It meets you at the exact point where you say, I can't, and answers, I can, not by resuscitating your willpower, but by becoming the basis of the next holy inch. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Zechariah 4-6. Where does this promise ring its bell? At exhaustion, when the body sighs and the mind grinds. At emotional depletion, when the heart has been strong for others until it trembles alone in the kitchen. At relapse into the old pattern, the sharp word you vowed not to speak, the secret escape you promised was over. At the gray fear that you do not measure up, and the quieter fear that you never will. The old religion of self says, try harder. The gospel of grace says, yield here. Weakness is not a disqualification in this school. It is the classroom. Pride cannot learn this lesson because it refuses the desk of weakness. But when pride has run out of breath, the teacher steps to the front. Let us practice the transfer where the breath is thin. When you feel the wall, yes, right there, do not gather yourself like a spring. Loosen, untie the shoulders. Let the jaw unhook. Feel the chair carry you. Then whisper once, only once, thy grace is my sufficiency. Say it as one opening a door, not as one hammering a lock. And then stop the words. Let the nerves be quieted under the assurance. 10 seconds. No argument, no brave speech, consent. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, Isaiah 40-31. Wait the length of one surrendered breath, and let renewal begin from another. What happens? Often not fireworks, but a soft, exacting kindness. A heaviness lifts, not because the load is gone, but because you are no longer the lifter. Or a surprising direction appears, Sleep now and send the reply in the morning. Eat and then call, apologize, and the tension will release. Believe it or not, I have woken before dawn to the old voice. You must fix this before breakfast. Stopping for 10 seconds, thy grace is my sufficiency. I found that the only work for that hour was silence and a gentle no to urgency. By mid-morning, unasked, the note I thought I must craft arrived from the other side with its own apology. Grace had been at work while I ceased to be the foreman. Do not despise your weakness. Do not glamorize it either. Offer it. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For when I am weak, then am I strong. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. What else is this but a change in bases? Formerly, you acted from adrenaline and fear. Now you act from rest and obedience. Formerly, you measured by output. Now you measure by peace. If shame rushes in after a stumble, answer it with truth. Father, I have no sufficiency of myself. My sufficiency is of thee. Confer 2 Corinthians 3-5. Bow again. 10 seconds. Then take the step you can carry without violating peace. Grace is not an excuse to do nothing. It is the presence that makes the next thing light enough to do. And if you should forget and push until the edges fray, stop in the middle. Put the tools down. Whisper once, thy grace is my sufficiency, and be still. Let the tight ring in the chest unclasp. Let the conscience speak without scolding. Perhaps the next inch is to rest. Perhaps it is to finish. But with gentleness, you will know by the return of the easy yoke. As thy days, so shall thy strength be. Deuteronomy 33-25. Strength is not stored in your savings of will. It is furnished as you walk. Today's portion is in today's pause. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. Grace is not tender only with the innocent. It is mighty with the spent and the stubborn. It meets you at the wall and turns the wall into a doorway. Whisper once, thy grace is my sufficiency. Be quiet 10 seconds. Then rise into the single clear inch that remains. In that inch you will discover again what we have been learning all along. I live, yet not I. The Father within doeth the works, and his grace is enough. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. James 1-5-6. Wisdom here is not a data download. It is discernment, the mind of Christ made practical in the moment, the light that shows the next clean inch. Information fills shelves. Wisdom orders steps. And mark this kindness. He giveth liberally and upbraideth not. The giver does not scold you for needing. He delights to guide the meek. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. Psalm 25-9. Where does this promise ring its bell? In confusion when counsel conflicts, when two good roads beckon and neither will show its end, when a conversation is loaded and you are not sure whether to speak or be silent, when a choice carries moral weight and the conscience is tender but the details are fog. Here the old habit is to hunt answers by volume. Ask again, poll 3 more friends, rehearse scenarios until the soul is dizzy. That is not asking. That is negotiating with our fear. Scripture says, ask, and it shall be given. And then let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. Faith here is not heat. It is a quiet stand. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Confer Isaiah 30-15. So let us draw a liturgy as exact as breathing. When confusion paces the room, do not add to its footsteps. Stop. Untie the jaw. Let the shoulders soften. Now, in one sentence only, name the matter and ask. Father, I lack wisdom for this conversation. Give liberally. Or, Father, show me thy way in this decision. Say it once as one who believes the giver's character. Then stop the words. 10 seconds of inner stillness. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. No bargaining, no rephrasing, no swearing oaths of future obedience to sweeten the request. Just this, a meek heart, a listening ear. What comes in those 10 seconds is not always a sentence. Often it is a weight that lifts, or a thread that tugs in one direction. Sometimes it is a gentle push. Call now, and you find the timing meets a readiness on the other side that you could not have arranged. Sometimes it is a check, not yet, and you feel that to speak now would bruise rather than heal. Sometimes it is a restraint. Do not answer this email tonight, and by morning the tone and the truth have both ripened. And sometimes it is simply the grace to wait without fretting, which is also guidance. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Psalm 119 to 105. A lamp shows the next step. It does not throw a map across a continent. Take the step the lamp illumines. Believe it or not, I have stood between two councils. Launch at once, said one voice. Wait 6 months, said another, with reasons piled on both scales. Stopping, Father, give liberally. I ask and receive. And sitting 10 seconds in the quiet, I found a restraint that carried peace. We waited. Within weeks, a hidden legal matter surfaced that would have turned an early launch into a snare. Waiting was not delay, it was deliverance. The peace of God shall keep your hearts and minds, Philippians 4-7. Peace kept us, and wisdom justified the pause. God here against the old itch to re-ask from anxiety. Re-asking in fear is not faith, it is wavering dressed in prayer. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, James 1-8. Ask once, then stand where you ask. If fear returns, do not multiply words, return to stillness. 10 seconds. Anchor again in the nature of the giver. If after stillness you remain unsure, take the smallest reversible step that you can carry in peace, or take no step until the inner umpire rules. Let peace rule. The shepherd can correct a meek foot in motion. He cannot guide a storm in a teacup. There is another key to wisdom, and it is willingness. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine. John 7:17. Much of our confusion is not lack of light, but lack of surrender to whatever light may show. Settle it within. Whatever thou revealest, I agree beforehand. Wisdom runs freely in the soul that has no private agenda. The giver upbraideth not. Only the negotiator upbraids himself when the answer is no or wait. Receive both as mercy. So make this your practice whenever the bell of confusion rings. Pause. Ask once, plainly, naming the matter. Then be silent 10 seconds. Look not for fireworks, but for the quiet clarity, the check, the restraint, or the gentle push. Move only at the pace of peace. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. The same Spirit who gives wisdom also corrects our stumblings. Ask, stand, be still, and obey the lighted inch. In such small obediences, discernment ceases to be a guessing game and becomes the ordinary air of sonship. He giveth liberally, believe it, and as you ask without wavering, you will find that the wisdom you sought has been guiding you from within all along. Abide in me, and I in you, for without me ye can do nothing. John 15:4-5. This is not decorative language, this is government. John 15 is the charter of guidance and the law of fruit. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. John 15:5. Fruit is not an achievement. It is an inevitability where union is honored. And mark the counterpart. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered. John 15:6. Withering is what strain feels like inside a pious life, busy, sincere, but sapless. Where does this promise meet you? At the bell of dryness, prayer feels like sand. The same apology is promised and postponed. The same reaction leaps forth, though you meant to be new. The page stays blank. The ministry stalls. You say, nothing is happening, though you have been diligent. The old self wants to double the effort, more plans, more meetings, more fervor. But fruit is not forced, it is born. The branch does not grit its bark to pop out grapes. The branch abides. So we reframe the aim. The goal is not to make guidance happen. The goal is to remain where guidance happens. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, John 15:7. Asking what ye will is not a blank check for a separated will. It is the natural prayer of a will yielded to the vine, so that what you ask is what the vine is already willing through you. Union edits desire. In that alignment, answers are not fetched, they flow. Let us draw the little liturgy that returns us from dryness to sap. When you meet the stall, make no speech to the sky. Do not interrogate your progress. Simply stop. Yes, even in the hallway, even in the line, untie the shoulders. Let the jaw unclasp and inwardly consent once. I abide. Or abide in me and I in thee. Thy words abide in me. Say it once, as one who steps over a threshold into a home already his. Then close the lips of the mind. 10 seconds, no measuring, no counting of fruit, no checking the branch for buds, only this, a consenting stillness in which the vine carries the weight. Do not call it failure if nothing seems to occur in those seconds. The root goes first, the shoot after. Much of abiding is underground. Many a time I have sat before an unyielding task and felt the noble itch to force it. Stopping I abide and resting 10 seconds without metrics, I found that a small act rose, not glamorous, but exact. Wash the cup, delete the sentence that performs, write one line of truth. And as that inch was obeyed, the sap moved. The work did not speed up by frenzy. It came alive by union. Abiding has signs. Peace returns as atmosphere, not as sedation. A next right inch appears, modest and light enough to carry. Resentment softens without debate. An apology you dreaded becomes easy, not because you mastered humility, but because humility mastered you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. So shall ye be my disciples, John 15:8. Fruit is not always seen on your calendar. Sometimes it is born in another's heart as your patience becomes their safety. Do not despise invisible fruit. Heaven counts differently. Beware of the wither. The wither speaks softly. Just one more push. Just one more list. Just one more hour. Withering comes not from doing much, but from doing a part. If you find yourself doing a part, do not shame the branch. Return it to the vine. Whisper once, I abide, and be still. Then make no move larger than the piece you can carry. If there is no peace for the whole task, take the one linked inch that bears peace. That is the path by which sap travels. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. The vine-dresser prunes, oh yes, he does, and pruning is mercy. Every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. John 15:2. Correction is not rejection. It is love removing what drinks sap without giving grapes. If in your pause you see a habit to lay down, lay it down. If he points to a word to unsay, unsay it. The life within will rush to fill the space you clear. And now understand the secret promise hidden in the line we love to quote. Ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you, John 15:7. Ask from abiding. Ask from the peace that proves his words are living in you. Ask once, and then rest as the sap does its work. In that rest you will discover that guidance is not a spotlight from without, it is the current from within. Fruit will appear not as trophies, but as the natural outcome of a life stayed in the vine, right timing, effortless doors, softened hearts, steady courage, work that smells of love. Make this, then, your compass when prayer is dry and progress stalls. Abide first, act after. 10 seconds can reattach a wandering branch. Whisper once, I abide, and cease from counting. Let the vine bear you before you bear anything for him. In that consent, you will learn again the sentence that frees us. I live, yet not I. The Father within doeth the works, and where the Father works, fruit remains. He shall guide you into all truth, for he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will shew you things to come. John 16:13. Here the tense shall guide, not once, not rarely, but as an ongoing tutoring, a present instructor walking the corridors of your day. The Comforter comforts, yes, but mark this, he also corrects. Correction is not the opposite of comfort, it is comfort with a backbone. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me, Psalm 23:4. The staff draws the sheep close, the rod turns the hoof from the cliff. Both are mercy. Where does this promise ring its bell? Most sharply when you are certain you are right, especially in conflict. You know the facts, you have the receipts, your tone hardens with righteousness. Or when an inner nudge comes that seems unreasonable, wait when the clock screams. Now, speak a soft word when your case is ironclad. Take the longer way home, return the item you could easily keep. Send the note of blessing to the very one who misread you. This is the Spirit's schoolroom. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. Psalm 25:9. Meek is not weak. Meek is teachable, teachable even in triumph. Let us draw the 10-second gate for such moments. When the heat rises and your mouth is full of excellent sentences, stop. Untie the jaw. Soften the shoulders. Feel the floor bear you. Then, within once, only once, say, Spirit of truth, show me. And then close the lips of your mind. 10 seconds. No argument. No self-defense. No promise to do better tomorrow as a bribe for approval today. Only this, a yielded ear. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. If correction comes, let it land without scolding yourself. Correction is mercy. Take it as bread, not as a blow. What comes in those seconds? Sometimes a sentence. Delete that first paragraph. Apologize before you explain. Do not send tonight. Or it is a picture, your own face seen from the other side, and you wince gently at the edge in your tone. Or it is timing, wait 3 hours. Believe it or not, I once had composed a letter that was accurate down to the comma and heavy as a stone. 10 seconds, Spirit of truth, show me, and a simple check. Not now, and begin with sorrow, not proof. In the morning I wrote one brief line, I am sorry for the weight I added, and silence after. The reply came back in mercy, the matter unclenched. Truth had not been lost, it had been sweetened by love. Speaking the truth in love, Ephesians 4:15, is also a guidance. At other times the nudge will look foolish. You have the seatbelt of logic strapped tight. The Spirit opens the door and says, turn here. It offends the manager in us. Go ahead and obey. If you mistake the voice, do not fear. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Don't be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. If you turn wrongly, unrest will rise like a faithful sentinel, and the same spirit who tutored the step will tutor the correction. You are not tested to be trapped. You are taught to be trusted. There is a deeper mercy in this tutoring. He will tell you the truth about you, not to shame, but to free. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Psalm 139 to 23:24. In conflict, he may whisper, your zeal is for reputation, not righteousness. In hurry, he may show, you are moving to dodge fear, not to obey love. Receive such words as you would receive a surgeon's counsel. The wound is already there, the knife only heals. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth. Hebrews 12 to 6. Chastening is the lover's medicine. Learn also the sign of his leading, peace that rules, gentleness that costs your pride, timing that releases strain. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, Colossians 3:15. Do not confuse adrenaline for anointing. If the instruction strips your self-importance but clothes you with quiet, you have likely heard your teacher. And even if you have only half heard, act on the inch you can carry in peace. The Spirit tutors in inches, not in lectures. He shall guide you into all truth as you walk. Make this your liturgy when certain you are right, or when a nudge seems unreasonable. Pause, breathe, Spirit of truth, show me. 10 seconds of wordless consent. Accept correction without self-condemnation. Then take the single obedient inch that remains after pride has set down its sword. And as you go, remember the center that has steadied us through all these promises. I live, yet not I. The Father within doeth the works. The same Spirit who comforts your tears will correct your steps, and his correction is mercy. Yield to it, and you will find that guidance is not a trickle, but a river, tutoring you, moment by ordinary moment, into all truth. There is another turn in this way, and it has to do with circulation. Guidance grows unsteady when we clutch attention, credit, security, even spiritual experiences. It steadies when we let love and truth flow out. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over. Luke 6:38. Not as a bargain with heaven, but as the nature of heaven in motion. The river clears as it runs. The pool stagnates when it is dammed. Nothing must come to you or to me. Everything must flow out from us. That is not loss. That is life. Hear the old prophetic question that still unlocks rooms. What hast thou in the house? 2 Kings 4:2. Not what do you wish you had. Not whom can you persuade to bring something. What have you in the house? A little patience, a small forgiveness, one kind act you can afford today, 2 mites of attention you can spare for the one nobody greets, a word of truth that comforts without showing off what you know. He took and blessed and brake and gave comfort. Matthew 14:19. Break and divide. The miracle is not in the hoard. The miracle is in the sharing. As you let what is already present move outward, you discover that the inner storehouse is not a shelf of cans. It is a spring. Now, mark how this touches guidance. When we hoard attention, counting likes, guarding reputation, our inner ear dulls. When we hoard credit, subtly arranging scenes to be seen, peace leaks and signals become fog. When we hoard security, pinched, grim, tight, every decision hums with fear. But when we quietly pour out what is at hand, the channel clears. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. Proverbs 11:25. Water as you go, and you will find that wisdom runs, not trickles, and peace rules, not negotiates, Let us apply this where the teeth of fear bite money fear. The bill is due, the numbers do not sing. The old reflex is to freeze the flow, clutch every coin, stare at columns until peace breaks. Do not pause now, 10 seconds. Before you ask for more, give thanks for what is in the house. Name it silently: breath, bread, skill, $2, 2 hours, a neighbor to love. Father, I thank thee. Then ask, to whom shall I break and divide? Wait 10 seconds. Often a small act appears. Pay this bill promptly, though you could delay. Send a modest gift to the one laid off. Buy the simple meal and share it. Volunteer 1 hour to lift another's load. Do it without trumpet. Believe it or not, I have watched a day change its weather when in scarcity I let a small coin go where love pointed, not as a bribe to God, but as consent to the nature of God. Within hours, not always money, but guidance arrived, clarity on what to release, the call that simplified what I had made complex, the peace that uncurls the hand. God is able to make all grace abound toward you, 2 Corinthians 9-8. Grace abounds along open channels. Another bite: emotional neediness, the ache to be seen, the hunger to be assured. The old reflexes to hint, to fish, to arrange. Instead, pause. 10 seconds. Give thanks for the love already in the house, however slight. Then decide one small outward blessing. Send the honest encouragement you yourself crave. Write the note that cost your pride. Pray for the one whose success awakens your envy. Bless your competitor in secret. Freely ye have received, freely give. Matthew 10-8. You will find that as you water another's roots, your own loneliness loosens. As you pour out praise without self-seeking, your inner climate changes from drought to dew. He that watereth shall be watered also himself. And what of the itch for credit? The old self strains to be named, to be central. Pause. 10 seconds. Thank the Father that the work is his, and then choose a lowly act. Give the colleague public credit. Take the humbler task without announcement. Put your name last. Humble yourselves, and he shall exalt you. James 4:10. Exaltation here is not applause. It is elevation into clarity. In such downward gifts, the voice within grows bright, the next inch becomes simple, and the peace returns that proves the yoke is easy. Make, then, this little liturgy your habit at the first prick of scarcity, whether of coin, of comfort, or of credit. Pause. Give thanks for what is already in the house. Ask once, Father, to whom and how shall I break and divide? 10 seconds of stillness. Decide one small act of giving today, small enough to carry in peace. Then obey lightly, without drama. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. The river corrects its course as it runs. In this simple flow out, guidance ceases to come in gusts. It settles into a current. And as you give, you will know again what we have been saying from the first: I live, yet not I. The Father within doeth the works. Let him flow, and the way will steady under your feet. Let us now gather these threads into a little daily liturgy, not as a charm to move heaven, but as the humble doorway by which you and I consent to be moved by heaven. We are not adding weight to the day. We are removing it from our shoulders and returning it to the one who said, the Father within me doeth the works. John 14:10. 3 pauses, 1 promise, and 1 act of obedience, so slight you could carry it in a crowded street, so strong it will steady your life. In the morning, before you touch the world, touch the presence. 10 seconds will do, or 2 minutes if they are given. But let there be a first nod of the heart. Father, this is thy day. live it as me. I live, yet not I. Do not rush to say many things. Read a single promise, one only for this day, from those we have received together. Choose Romans 8:14. As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God, or Isaiah 26:3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, or John 15's abide in me, according to the need that rises. Read it softly, accept it as already true, and abide in it as a branch rests in the vine. Do not try to use it upon God, let it use you. Vain repetition is of no value. One promise received alters the soil. Then close the lips of the mind for 10 seconds, letting the words sink beneath words. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Step forth in that knowing as if it was so, because it is. At midday, when the clamor has accumulated and the old reflexes are trying for the wheel, take the second pause as correction, not as scolding. 10 seconds. Breathe, soften, and utter once. Spirit of truth, show me. No defense, no bargaining. Wait in meekness, for the meek will he guide in judgment. Psalm 25:9. If a check comes, not now obey the restraint. If a nudge comes, speak gently. First obey the gentleness. If a confession rises, apologize before you explain. Obey the apology. The rod and the staff are both comforts. Psalm 23:4. And if nothing comes but a return of quiet, walk in quiet. That too is guidance. In the evening, lay it all down. 10 seconds to 2 minutes can return you to Sabbath. Enter thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Matthew 6:6. Say once, Father, I release outcomes, I return praise for what thou hast done, seen and unseen. Forgive as I forgive. I let the day go. Name no failures. Hand them over. Count no triumphs. Hand them too. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Psalm 55:22. Sleep as one kept, not as one who must keep himself through the night. Now add the thread that sews the pauses into a garment. One act of obedience each day. Small, clean, and done in peace. Make the call you have delayed. Write the apology and send it without embroidery. Stay silent in the meeting when silence would be love. Tip generously, though fear would clutch. Choose the lowly seat. Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it, John 2-5. This is where promise becomes proved, not by fireworks, but by conduct. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only. James 1:22. Let peace be the umpire. Take no step larger than the peace you can carry. Guard yourself here against superstition. This liturgy is not a lever upon God. It is a lever upon us. It does not purchase guidance. It pauses to receive it. Nor does it require a club, a badge, or a banner. We have no organization. We have no memberships. You do not need me, nor a room with a name on the door. You need a red-letter word, a quiet heart, and the devotion to keep the inner appointment. In your kitchen, in the elevator, in the parked car, in the stall of a busy shop, you and your Father who seeth in secret. If on some day you forget the morning, take the midday twice. If you miss the evening, give thanks upon waking and let it count for 2. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. The river finds its channel as it runs. Keep it simple. Morning acknowledgement, 1 promise received. Midday correction, 10 seconds of teachable stillness. Evening release outcomes returned to the keeper. And through the day, 1 obedient act, however small. In such a rhythm, guidance ceases to be a theory. It becomes the ordinary air of sonship. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Isaiah 26:3. Stay the mind in three pauses. Trust in one promise. Prove it by one deed. And as you do, you will recognize again the voice that has been leading you all along. I live, yet not I. The Father within doeth the works. We began by confessing that the rush into the day is the old covenant of self-effort, and that a life of guidance opens when we yield the initiative to the present. But hear how the circle closes. This is not finally about techniques, nor even about promises used wisely. It is about identity. I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. The pauses are doors. The promises are lights in the hall. But the home is this: the Father within doeth the works. John 14:10. The promises do not merely help your life, they reveal who is living it. So be reassured, there are no easy paths handed to favorites. There is the way of devotion, and devotion is simply this: to return again and again to the inner government. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Guidance is not precarious, it is promised. As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Romans 8:14. Sons are not hired for a day, they belong. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. Isaiah 26:3. Keep the mind stayed in brief pauses, and peace will prove the covenant. Let us seal this together now. Stop where you are, even with others near. Let the shoulders unclasp. Loosen the jaw. Feel the good earth or the chair bear you. Within, say once, simply and sincerely, Father, thou livest this life as me. I live, yet not I. And now, 10 seconds of holy hush. No asking, no bargaining, only consent. Amen. Let that be your seal. And begin immediately with the next decision that crosses your path today, however small. Do not hunt for a grand test. The next inch is the appointed classroom. Ask once, Spirit of truth, show me. Then take the single step that can be carried in peace. If it is to wait, wait. If it is to speak softly first, speak softly. If it is to choose the low seat, choose it. Let peace be the umpire. Make no move larger than the peace you can carry. And if you forget, if the day sweeps you, if the old reflex pilots you through a mile before, you remember, do not scold the child. Begin again. The presence has not left, only attention wandered. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Hebrews 13:5. Turn, and you will find him where you left him, within, unoffended, ready. Don't be afraid of mistakes, and don't be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. Grace meets you at the end of your own strength and becomes the new basis for action. My grace is sufficient for thee. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Trust also the outcomes you cannot see. Return them to the keeper. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. He shall bring it to pass. How? You need not know. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. Your task is the pause, the promise received, the inch obeyed. The harvest is his, and often it ripens where you are not looking. Go, then, not under pressure, but under blessing. You are not being sent to perform for God. You are consenting to let God perform his love through you. Let love flow out. Let truth flow out. Let forgiveness flow out. Keep the three pauses. Receive one promise. Do one obedient act in peace. In this simplicity, you will discover again and again the sentence that steadies every step. I live, yet not I. The Father within doeth the works, And where the Father works, the day is received, the unseen is trustworthy, and fruit remains.